Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Come closer. Maduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. We were discussing the chapter on um, Babul Bukai al Mayyiti, chapter on crying for the deceased. Right? So we were telling you this much we discussed thus far, that the natural grief that a person experiences upon the decease, upon the passing on of somebody, that is in its place. Obviously, you have no control of the grief you experience, right? You have no control over the grief you experience. So that you are not blameworthy for that. But besides the wife, after 3 days, they should try to normalize. But the wife, obviously, for 4 months, 10 days, she will be in iddat. She will remain in the home. She will only come out at a time of extreme necessity. Those laws will come in a separate chapter, Babul Iddah. I think people are doing Babul Iddah in Hidayah Shareef at the moment, isn't it? And then she will only come out if there's extreme necessity. Otherwise, she must be in the house. And even then, when there's extreme necessity, by the evening, she must be back at home, etc. And then also the ta'ziyah should be done in 3 days. And also, Shareef has put i'tidal. I'tidal means moderation in the morning as well. When somebody loses a family member, then it is masnoon to make ta'ziyat, to go to the house and pay your respects, pay your condolences, to encourage them on sabr, that make sabr, and also to give them glad tidings, like how you say, Allah Ta'ala grant the deceased Jannatul Firdaus, etc., and to encourage them with composure, etc. Is mentioned in the Battle of Muta, when Hazrat Ja'far, Hazrat Zaid, Hazrat Abdullah ibn Rawaha passed away. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sat in Masjid al-Nabawi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and then the Sahaba Ikram came to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and they made ta'ziyat. They came to pay their respects upon the passing on of these Sahaba Ikram. So generally, you should try to visit the deceased person once in 3 weeks. You should try to visit the deceased person, within 3 days. Yes, it's a different story if you couldn't get to the deceased person or something like that. Actually, also it's mentioned that to, to make ta'ziyat before the burying of the deceased is better, is afdal than making ta'ziyat after the burying of the deceased. To send food to the house of the bereaved, it's also proven from the hadith, it's also masnoon. And this is the sunnah word to say when somebody passes away. This is sunnah words. Lillahi ma akhadha. The reading for Allah Ta'ala is what He has taken, right? Walahu ma a'ta. And for Him is what He has given also. وَكُلُّ شَيْءٍ لَهُ بِأَجْلٍ مُسَمَّى. Everything by Him is for a fixed duration. Allah Ta'ala knows already before who will live for how long, who will live for how long in the dunya. وَكُلُّ شَيْءٍ لَهُ بِأَجْلٍ مُسَمَّى. And say, إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. That's one masnoon dua. Another Ju'ais, أزم أجرك وغفر مصابك. هذا الإنسان حركة يا بك. عظم أجرك مثلا increase your reward. عظم أجرك وغفر مصابك, and may He forgive you for your difficulty that you're experiencing. Okay, so those are some adab and some etiquette. Inshallah, as we go through the lesson, there will be more adab and etiquette. You can read the first hadith, inshallah. Okay, see, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. عن أنس رأيت أثارة أفضل أنس رضي الله تعالى عنه. دخلنا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم على أبي يوسف القيني. We entered into the presence of Abu Yusuf al-Qayni. Qayn means a person, like you can say, a ironmonger, a person who, like you say, a blacksmith. Somebody who works with iron, right? وكان ذئرا إبراهيم. He was the nurse for Ibrahim. So obviously, it doesn't mean he physically was the nurse, but he was the husband of the witness. You got Abu Sayyid. Okay, Abu Sayyid, sorry, Abu Sayyid. وكان ذئرا لإبراهيم. So he was the witness, the foster mom for Ibrahim. So this means obviously he was a man. It means he was the husband of the witness of Ibrahim, the son of Rasulullah. So carry on. So Rasulullah took Ibrahim alayhi salam radiallahu anhu, فقبله, he kissed him, وشمه, and he smelled him, like like our small baby, that is beautiful fragrance, right? So because he was ill, he was in his last, right? Carry on. Yeah. ثم دخلنا عليه, we also entered into his presence after that. وإبراهيم يجود بنفسه. إبراهيم عليه السلام كان يجود بنفسه. He was like in the throes of death, right? Right. وجعلت عينا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تذرفان. The eyes of Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم welled up with tears, right? So Abdul Rahman ibn Auf said, you Rasulullah, so Abdul Rahman ibn Auf thought that the natural grief a person experiences at the time of the loss of a loved one is also something frowned upon. But remember, we mentioned to you several times, the natural grief is not blameworthy. It is what? It is the rejection of the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is blameworthy, right? So he said, فقال له عبد الرحمن بن عوف وأنت يا رسول الله, يا رسول الله, you crying. So I told him, you have to differentiate between the natural grief and one is a rejection and objection to the decree of Allah Ta'ala. So the natural grief, that is something which you don't have control over, right? So as Abdul Rahman ibn Auf thought that natural grief is also against the Sunnah code. And if Nabi Sassam's Iman supposed to be so strong, he's not supposed to experience natural grief also, right? So فقال فالنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يا ابن عوف أو son of عبد الرحمن إنها رحمة. There's a mercy. The fact that you feel pain upon the separation of a loved one, that's a mercy. You also, sometimes when you're experiencing grief, etc., experiencing difficulty, experiencing hardship, just to cry, after you cry, you feel a bit better of that. Instead of bottling it up, you release it and you feel better, right? Right? إنها رحمة, right? ثم أتبعها بأخرى. Then Nabi Sallallahu followed it after something else. And this next is something that it can be etched in gold. And it's what I was telling you. It's the natural signs of grief, right? That is not blameworthy, right? But to show objection, rejection, displeasure for the decree of Allah Ta'ala, that is problem. And that is very beautifully captured in the statement of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Read it. They say, in al-ayna tadma'u. Verily the eye, the tear, the well up with the tears. وَالْقَلْبُ يَحْزَنُ. And the heart grieves, right? But despite all of that, despite the natural grief, etc., وَلَا نَقُولُ إِلَّا مَا يَرْضَى رَبُّنَا. We will not accept that which our Rabb is happy. Like we won't object, Ya Allah, why my son? I only got one son. Why you to take my son? Right? وَلَا نَقُولُ إِلَّا مَا يَرْضَى رَبُّنَا. Right? Right? وَإِنَّا verily we فِرَاقِكَ upon your separation, O Ibrahim, لَمَحْزُونُون. We are aggrieved, we are sad. مُتَّفَقٌ عَلَيْهِ. So I was telling you, Abu Sayyid, his name was Barak, and his wife was the actual witness of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I think it was Khawla radiallahu ta'ala. So she was a witness. So he was a, what you say, a blacksmith, an ironmonger. And obviously those days things weren't readily manufactured. You had to buy it, like the shoes of the horse, or you wanted anything made from steel, etc. Just check. They say the sound is a bit poor here. Just check if everything is right. Cracking sound. Right. So he himself was a was this see, you could just give us some feedback, tell us if you can hear some complaints about the sound. It is here now. So Ibrahim alayhi salam was the son of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Maria Qibtiyah. She was born from Maria Qibtiyah. About at the age of about 16 or 17 months, he passed away. So Saif was the husband of the witness of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. يجود بنفسه. I thought it was like he was يجود بنفسه means he was in the throes of death. Like you can see now the person is what you say, what you call it in sakarat, right? That's yajudu binafsi. So it means that the ruh was like basically exiting. وأنت يا رسول الله. So Abdurrahman bin Auf, his reasoning and his rationale is that Ya Rasulullah, the person passes away. That is in the taqdeer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is in the taqdeer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And obviously, Ya Rasulullah, you got the highest iman, you got the best iman, etc., etc. You're not supposed to be affected by the taqdeer of Allah ta'ala. This is not in keeping with your status, right? But like I told you, the law is this year that the natural grief that you don't have control over it, you can't control that, right? But how you express it, that is what is regulated by the Sharia. You understand that? obviously, this crying, the sadness is a result of the softness that is in the heart. If you feel something, obviously, right? You feel something. If you don't feel anything, it means you are devoid of any rahmat, you are devoid of any shafaqat. You are like a rock. That person's got a bit of rahmat in his heart. You will feel something. And after this, the eyes of the wisdom began tearing more even. So the wisdom said a person who doesn't feel any type of emotion at the occasion like this here, he doesn't have a heart, he's actually got a rock. So actually, at the time of that sadness, not to show sadness, to show happiness is not a great sign. It is not something unique. It's actually against the sign of rahmat and mercy. You read the next hadith.
عن أسامة بن زيد رضي الله عنه قال قال أرسلت ابنة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إليه من النبي بضاعة أرسل يكتب السلام ويقول
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعن أسامة بن زيد narrating authority of Usama ibn Zayd, right? He said, قال أرسلت ابنة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إليه. Once the daughter of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sent towards him, أن ابن لي, that a child of mine, قبض. Yeah, قبض is translated, that thing is passed away already. But here in this context, it doesn't mean pass away already, but he's in the throes of death. He's in the throes of death. فأتنا, come to us. فأرسل, so Nabi sent a message back, يقرأ السلام, that he's giving salam to his daughter, ويقول إن لله ما أخذ. The relief of Allah Ta'ala is what he had taken. Allah means he gave the time, he's taking the child back, right? وله ما أعطى, and for him is what he gives. وكل شيء عنده بأجل مسمى, and everything by him is for a fixed number. فتصبر. So you just make somebody, telling daughter, you make somebody, Allah Ta'ala is taking his child back. وَلْتَحْتَسِبْ, and hope for reward of Allah Ta'ala for this difficulty, for every difficulty a person experiences in this world, you will be rewarded for that, right? وَلْتَحْتَسِبْ فَأَرْسَلَتْ إِلَيْهِ تُقْسِمُ عَلَيْهِمْ. So she, the daughter of Rasulullah, wasn't just happy with this message. She said to him, تُقْسِمُ عَلَيْهِ, take me a qasam, that no, I take a qasam upon you, that لَا يَأْتِيَنَّ, take a qasam upon you that he must come, because this is wahid, واحد تأكيد, right? غائب. ليأتينها, that he will come, he must come, he must come, he must come. فقام, so Nabi stood up, ومعه سعد بن عبادة, وسيم سعد بن عبادة, ومعاذ بن جبل, and معاذ بن جبل, وأبي بن كعب, and أبي بن كعب, وزيد بن ثابت, and زيد بن ثابت, ورجال, and some other men, close صحابة كرام. فرفع إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الصبي. The child was raised to Rasulullah, was given to Rasulullah ونفسه تتقعقع, while his nafs was, like you can say, his breathing had become labored, you can see. ففاضت عيناه, then the eyes of Rasulullah began overflowing, welling up. فقال سعد يا رسول الله ما هذا. So again, like Abdurrahman ibn Auf, they thought that Nabi Sallallahu is such a great person, his iman is so great, so he shouldn't be experiencing any type of grief, right? فقال سعد يا رسول الله ما هذا. قال هذه رحمة. This is a rahmat. جعله الله في قلوب عباده. Allah Ta'ala puts it to feel grief, to feel sad at the demise of somebody. The mercy from Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala has made you soft. And I told you also, It is one of the coping mechanisms that you cry, you show grief. Right? جعل الله في قلوب عباده فإنما يرحم الله من عباده الرحمن. Because very Allah shows mercy from His servants to those that show mercy, right? Yeah. So if you yourself a person that show mercy, then Allah Ta'ala will show mercy to you. Right? Here it's mentioned that this was Hazrat Zainab radiallahu ta'ala was the eldest daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and she was married to Abu al-As. And this was the instance of the passing away of her daughter. Could be that, I told you, could be that that he was already passed away, but here in this context, it doesn't mean he passed away already. But he was in the condition, he was in the throes of death. Because why we can't say passed away? Because when Rasulullah came, when he was still breathing, ونفسه تتقعقع نفسه تتقعقع. I told you was you can see this labored breathing that you can see a person is like in حالة نزع, right? تقسم عليه Rasulullah took a custom up, or rather the daughter took a custom upon you. I think custom upon you that you must come. It, like obviously this is an emotional moment. This is an emotional moment. I need you to come here. So you can see here, so the Arabs, they should do this, they should take a custom on another person also. Okay, read another one, let's do another one quickly. عن عبد الله بن عمر قال اشتكى عمز الوصل. Have you got the tanween on the shak one? What you got? No, that tanween. What you got? Huh? Loud? And you? Look at that tanween. Tanween. You see it? تقوى. You got tanween. Okay. We're supposed to get it here in my kitab with tanween, but isn't the when it's that alif مقصورة open above the three letters and it's علامة التأنيث, isn't it? So I just shakwa. Anyway, carry on. Yeah. So Barak of Abdullah ibn Umar, he said that Sa'ad ibn Ubadah once complained, right? Maybe was having some difficulty or etc. Right? Shakwa. فأتاه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم came to him يعوده visit. هذا يعوده means to visit a sick person. فليس إعادة المريض له, you say إعادة المريض. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم came to visit him. What Abd al-Rahman bin Auf and Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas and Abdullah bin Mas'ud. Right, carry on. So فلما دخل, when they entered the presence of Sa'ad ibn Ubadah, they found him في غاشية, like in an unconscious state, right? So he said that for the Qudiyah, is he, like is he gone already? Has the matter been decided? Did he pass on into the mercy of Allah Ta'ala? So the people around said, "La, no, Rasulullah, he hasn't passed on as yet, or he hasn't passed on, but he just is unconscious, right?" So Nabi Sallallahu began crying. So when the people saw the crying of Rasulullah Sallallahu, Bakaw, they also cried. One is Baka Yabki, to cry. One is Baki Yabqa, to remain. Bakaw, they also cried, right? Yeah. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, فقال ألا تسجد أن لا أن الله لا يعذب بدمع العين. Allah Ta'ala don't punish us because of the tears of the eyes, because that's a natural thing that you can't control. ولا بحزن القلب. Allah Ta'ala do not punish us with the grief of the heart. ولكن يعذب بهذا, but he punishes because of this. وأشار إلى لسانه وأشار إلى لسانه, and he indicated what his tongue. In other words, when you say inappropriate things, why me? Why this? Right? Right? أو يرحمه, Allah Ta'ala shows mercy, right, to the crying. إن الميت يعذب ببكاء أهله عليه. Verily the deceased is punished with the crying of his family upon him. متفق عليه. So here we see two things. Okay, before we come to that, yeah, I'll discuss it. 1 minute, you see that Nabi Sallallahu was crying, and the next minute you say, وَإِنَّ الْمَيْتَ يُعَذَّبُ بِبُكَاءِ أَهْلِهِ عَلَيْهِ. The mate is punished. The mate is punished because of the crying of his family. So it seems contradictory. It seems, and also it is against the principle. What لا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى. None will carry the burden of another person. So the Sa'd ibn Ubadah was the leader of a particular tribe. When he took the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came to visit him, he was one of the senior Sahaba Ikram. Hence, Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Sa'd ibn Waqqas, went with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So when the Nabi came there, he was unconscious. As I told him, Akubida, has he already been taken away? So when the Nabi cried, all his companions also cried as well. So I was saying that, look here, just by crying or expressing your grief, etc., does not affect the disease in any way. But to scream and wail, like how they should do in Jahiliyyah, they used to pull out their hair, they should tear their clothes, they should tear their pockets, etc. And then you see the Shia also, how they experience their grief upon the martyrdom of Hazrat Hussein radiallahu. They beat themselves in all that type of thing. So that's why in the Abda yu'azabu bibuka'i ahlihi alayhi. Verily a servant is punished with the cry of his family upon him. Now I was telling you that we know the principle is that one person can't be punished because of the actions of another person. How does it make sense that the deceased must be punished for what his family do after him? While the Quran is quite clear and emphatic. وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةُ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. None will carry the burden of another person. Okay, Banu Azim is here to discuss this tomorrow. We discuss this. How is it that a person will be punished because of the actions of his family? One that you put account that you got account because it's the same account.